Hello everyone, welcome to episode 11 of BrickSide Chat. I am finally back in the BrickLink store doing these question and answer videos in here now at least. I can film all my videos in here now, which is exciting. I got a lot of questions this week. Some of these questions I'm just answering in the comments. I can't make a 45-minute video answering questions. And then a few of them, if they're specific just to you and it's easy for me to answer in the comments, I'm not necessarily going to do the whole video on them. But some questions, obviously, they need a longer answer, and or they might pertain to a ton of different people. And if that's the case, I'm going to answer them in this video here. So this is this week's questions. We got, I think, 8 questions, a few really good ones. First one comes from Zach, and he said, maybe it's Australia specific, but essentially to send orders cheap, we need to keep the thicknesses of the packages under 20 millimeters. Should I use an A4 size padded envelope or those super flat mailing boxes like this? And then he sent me a link. The problems are, if the pieces move in the bubble mailer, I could be charged $10 more if it goes over 20 millimeters, but if I use the boxes, could the pieces get damaged? Now, I think this is a fantastic question, and I think it might be Australia specific, or it's not, at least in the United States, that's not the case. I would personally, in your position, go with the boxes. Now, the reason I say that is because if you put a brick or multiple bricks inside those boxes that are the super flat ones, obviously you can't put a pile of bricks in there, but if you place them in relatively neatly, I feel like they're pretty safe. And bricks and plates and tiles, depending on how thick the plates and tiles are, I would say are relatively sturdy or pretty strong. You know, you can step on them, you can smash them with another box or something. They're probably not going to break unless you have a base plate or a big thing that bends and could snap or something. But if it's a small plate, small tile, or any brick, should be totally fine in my opinion to go in those boxes. What I would say you probably want to use the bubble mailers for would be maybe potential like accessories for minifigs, like maybe a spear or something that could snap. Now again, the box in theory won't fold either. The bubble mailer could still fold. So it really, I think, depends on what you're putting in each of them. But for your situation, I would say go with the boxes just because it protects you a little bit more in terms of being charged way more for shipping, probably way more than you charge the buyer, and then losing money on that. So I'd say try the boxes. Another thing is this, and again, it might just be based on my views. This looks a little bit incorrect. Being charged $10 extra for if it goes a little bit over 2 centimeters. So maybe look into that as well, or explore different shipping options because I'm not positive that's correct. Again, I could be totally wrong here, but maybe look into that as well. Second question this week comes from BrickNick Mox. As a buyer, can you prevent certain buyers from buying at your store? And I think he means as a seller, can you prevent certain buyers from buying at your store? If you've had an issue with them in the past, luckily it hasn't happened to me yet, just wondering if it's an option. Yes, you can, and it's actually extremely simple. All you have to do is scroll down to the bottom of any BrickLink page, and then in the footer, you're going to click on the button that says Problem Center. And then from there, on the right side, I believe it's the third option down, you can click block a buyer or something along those lines, and then type in their username on the next page, and then the reason for blocking them. And then you click block, or I think it's actually add member to the blocking list. I just went through this and now I can't even remember it. And then they're blocked from your store. They're on a list now. They can no longer buy from you. So if you have problems with buyers, that's the easiest way to make sure they don't buy from you again. Now, next question is, and I'm going to mess up this username, Pakiu1787. I apologize. Do you sell on other platforms apart from BrickLink? In case of doing it, how do you manage possibly cross sales if you work on 2 platforms such as eBay and BrickLink? So we do not sell on any other platform besides BrickLink right now. Only BrickLink, that's it. I know Pop's Block Shop sells on eBay and BrickLink, but I believe, and I could be wrong here, but actually I'm pretty sure this is how he does it. He sells one inventory that he has on BrickLink and a totally separate inventory of mostly minifigs on eBay. I don't think he crosses those at all. But I could be wrong. And we don't sell on anything yet. There is another Lego selling platform called BrickOwl, very similar to BrickLink. And there is a program called BrickPacker that can sync your inventories between those two. So you should be able to manage that, or it will manage it for you. So if you sell something on BrickOwl, it'll take it out of your inventory on BrickLink and vice versa. But as far as I know, on eBay, there is no way to do that. Talking about eBay questions, Millennium Bricks asked, how much are fees on BrickLink and how often do you pay fees? Specifically because Millennium Bricks sells on eBay and wants to move to BrickLink since the fees are expensive. Yes, the fees are very expensive on eBay. They are 10% of all your sales. So the fees on BrickLink are only 3%, which is fantastic. And and it's 3% of your brick fees, not your or your brick, whatever you sell. It's not 3% of your income total. So if you're charging shipping or extra fees to your buyers, they are not, or you are not charged 3% on top of that. And then you pay the fees once a month. So I think we got on the 5th of May our invoice for April. And then we have a month to pay that until I think the 4th of June. And once that's paid, it's totally done. You can pay through PayPal or credit card on the BrickLink website. Super, super simple. And then once a month, you get your fees thing. Next question comes, and I'm going to mess up this name as well. I know I messed it up in the last one. It might be Michael. I said Mikel, or I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say your name. Mikel Lanson or Michael Lanson. How many times a month do you download your inventory, update to the 6-month sales average, and re-upload? Or is this something you do on a weekly basis? There's not necessarily set deadlines or dates that we do this, but I would say it is more on a weekly basis. We probably do it 2 to 3 times a week, and it's really whenever one of us is here and kind of feels like it. Recently, I can do it from home too. I've been, I'll just be like, let's update it, and a couple times a week, maybe only once a week. You probably don't need to do it that often. You can probably do it twice a month maybe. But the reason I just think I just do it so often is just because I have the time right now. And, when I'm looking for something to do, it's like, I'll just update the inventory. It only takes a few minutes, but it is a few minutes when, if you are really busy, you don't necessarily need to do it. But at the moment right now, 2 to 3 times a week. Next question, how do you get sets to part out to be profitable? And I think the question you're asking here is, how do you not lose money on a set? Or how do you know that it's going to be profitable? And I apologize if that's not your question, but how do you get sets to part out to be profitable? I think the biggest thing is, don't buy a set that is only going to part out for 1.5 times the price. So if you're buying a set for $10 and it parts out for $12, technically, yes, if you sell every single piece, you're going to make $2 profit there. But the key there is you have to sell every single piece, plus you have to factor in the time it takes you to part out the pieces, pick the orders, and however long it's going to sit on the wall before it gets sold. So the biggest thing I think is go to the price guide or the My Price Guide page on BrickLink, and on the right side of that page you can type in the set number and you can see how much that part out's value will be for that set. And then on that you can compare that to the buying price. Really what I would say is, don't buy any Lego that is full price. Buy it if it is 3 times part out value or more. Another thing you can do is you can go figure out what pieces are in the set. And then actually look at those pieces and how those specific pieces sell on BrickLink. So you can type in that piece, like a 2x4 brick, and you can see what color and how often it's selling in the past 6 months. It's all public information that you can view. So it's not like BrickLink's really hiding anything, at the moment at least. So go check it out and see if you think the pieces in that set will sell, or if the minifigs are going to sell. If the minifigs alone pay for the set, awesome. Then essentially, those are probably going to sell relatively quickly if you're still at a good price, and they do sell on BrickLink, period. And then essentially all the pieces you now have are extra inventory that you're adding that you've already paid off the set. So it's not that, I raise the prices to make sure the set's profitable. Only buy sets that are going to pay off in the long run. And you just have to do some research to do that. Now, the last question this week is from Aurora Flight, and this is a difficult question, and I really had to think about this one, and I don't know if this is exactly the answer you want, but the question was, if you had $100 to buy Lego to start a BrickLink store, what would you buy? So this is the first thing I'm going to say, and it's not exactly the correct answer in terms of what you're wanting, but only buy sets that you would potentially want to have in your own collection. Or sets that have pieces that you would want to have. Now, the reason I say that is if you spend $100 on Lego, well, $100 really is not that much, especially for Lego. If your BrickLink store closes, or you end up, you ship a few orders out and realize you don't like it, it's not worth it, you can't keep up with it, whatever it might be. If you close your store down, you now have $100 worth of Lego parts just sitting there. So if you're going to close your store, you want to make sure that those parts, are there that you could maybe use in your own collection. On top of that, I'd say don't buy Lego Friends sets. Don't buy the Disney Princess sets. There's a few more, but mostly because a lot of those pieces are just not popular on BrickLink. They just don't sell. They're going to sit for quite a while. Now, that doesn't mean you can't buy those sets. If those are sets that you might be interested in, if the BrickLink store closes, go for it. It doesn't mean they won't sell, but I would say don't spend all your money on those sets. One more tip, I guess, would be don't just buy 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of the same exact set, because now, as a small seller with only $100 worth of inventory, you limited yourself to whatever those sets have in terms of pieces. So if there's only 60 different lots in a set, you now only have 60 different pieces. So my recommendation for what to buy would be the Lego Classic sets. Now I know set 11011 was a fantastic set when it was on sale. It has 1,500 parts. It was like 300 lots, and it was $35 on Walmart.com. I think it's up to like 50 something now. Parts out for over 100, so it is a 2 times part out value, which maybe is the direction you want to go. Maybe get one of those. But really, I would say go with a few classic sets, primarily because you will then have a large quantity as well as a large variety for just $100, and most of those parts in those sets are pieces that people are buying on BrickLink. On top of that, what I would say is get your hands on, if you can, for a good price, obviously, on a few poly bags that have a minifig inside them, and make sure the minifig sells well and stuff. But now you might see people who are looking for that minifig on BrickLink come to your store, and then they'll see the other pieces. If you don't want to dabble and get into the minifigs, don't do it. That's totally fine. But what I would say is the classic sets are probably from the very beginning going to be the best thing to pay off. Yeah, so I'm sorry I can't give you like 4 specific sets to buy, but that's just my 2 cents and stuff in terms of what you should buy to start a BrickLink store. Now, if you're spending $100 total, you need to think about packaging materials. You need to think about drawers or some sort of storage system. You need to think about shipping labels later on. How you're going to print all that stuff out. You need to think about all of those things. If it's just for Lego, then I'd say go on the classic sets. I get a few classic sets, and then at least that point you'll have a decent sized inventory to start off right at the bat with, only being $100. Those are all the questions for this week that I feel are important enough or broad enough, or I could elaborate on enough at least to answer in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, as always, put them down below in the comments section. I will either answer them in this video or I will get back to you as soon as I can. Yeah, thank you guys again for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. As always, if you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. And we'll see you in tomorrow's video. What is today, Sunday? Today's Sunday. Tomorrow's video, which is actually picking another BrickLink order. I know a lot of people have been asking for that, so look forward to that. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next video.